What's up, everyone? All right, so we're gonna go over the trades from this morning, locking up $10,432.70 of profit in 2 hours. Not bad at all. Double the daily goal. A really nice recovery after yesterday's spiral. Yesterday, not good. Went off the rails, had a bad day, but self-corrected, and I'm back in focus today. And I gave myself this little note right here. So I printed out my P&L based on time of day. Because if you notice, I've been losing money trading after hours this last 30 days and been doing really well in the beginning of the day up until about 10 a.m., 11 a.m. So I said, Russ, please size down at the open. Discipline yourself. This is important. I think the reason I was so frustrated yesterday was because I knew I made a mistake. I knew I had broken my rules. I gave back half my profit and I kept trading. I got triggered. I got frustrated. And next thing you know, I'm stubborn and I'm getting more and more angry. And here's the really interesting thing. If you break your rules and you make money, you often feel like all's well that ends well, right? You don't really punish yourself. When you break your rules and you lose, you're furious. And this is the worst thing about trading because you can break your rules and then you can end up winning just through, there's the fact is, like, sometimes you'll break your rules, but a stock will go higher and you'll end up making money on it. And so the market is giving you inconsistent reinforcement for rule following. Sometimes you follow your rules, you say, all right, I'm going to walk away, and then a stock goes up 500%, you miss the whole thing. That's what happened to me on SOBR, right? When I saw that happen on SOBR, I was so frustrated. I had so much FOMO. I was so disappointed in myself. That was on Monday. Why was I disappointed in myself? I followed my rules. I walked away at the right time. Well, I guess I was disappointed. I was disappointed that I missed it. I had the fear of missing out. I didn't really have any reason to be disappointed in myself because, well, the trade happened later in the day, but I just felt really frustrated. I felt the fear of missing out. And I allowed that to get, that little seed grew inside my head and it became FOMO, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And next thing you know, I'm coming in on Tuesday, right? Being way too aggressive, swinging for the fences, and took some unnecessary risks, right? Made some money at the open and then gave it back as the day went on. So today I said, discipline is the most important thing. And I gave myself this note. I said, all the profit to recover today's mistake is in the market, just waiting for you to pick it up. But there's a catch. The catch is you have to follow your rules. And the time to pick it up is between generally 7 a.m. and about 10 a.m. Outside that window, you're going to lose money. You will actually accelerate your losses. And so as I sat thinking about that, had to spend a good amount of time in the car yesterday. I had a bunch of errands to run and whatever. So I'm driving around, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about, all right, discipline is your ticket to success. And if you can't feel good about yourself because you're having a green day, you can at least feel good about yourself that you maintain discipline, that you followed your rules. And something that I often say is that it's not about consecutive green days. It's about consecutive days of maintaining discipline. Because red days happen. They're fine. It's not a big deal. Now, we get so fixated on always being green that we can get ourselves into a real trap where as soon as we're red, we get emotional and then we get hijacked and then we give into FOMO, we start spiraling. And next thing you know, because you didn't want to be down $500, you're down 5,000, which is the stupidest thing in the world. Now, humans, obviously naturally by aptitude are not good at trading. We have to train ourselves to be good at trading. And the biggest thing we have to train ourselves into is having discipline. And even no matter how much training you have, it's hard to fight that urge. You think about a dog who chases a squirrel. No matter how much you try to train the dog not to do it, it's going to be really hard for them to fight that just instinct. And it's a lot like that for us. Certainly for me as a momentum trader, because I'm often trading things that are going higher and higher. And so there's actually a little bit of a chase instinct. All right, so let's jump onto the chart. So finishing the morning here, $10,432. Last trade was on BNZI. First trade of the day, however, was on LASE. So I've got 4 stocks I traded, green on 3 out of the 4. Average losers today, tiny. If we looked at my metrics for today, they're phenomenal. Accuracy was terrific. Profit loss ratio, terrific. Yesterday, it was not good. Now, part of that was out of my control. I couldn't control the fact that yesterday we didn't have any really good news headlines. That's just the luck of the draw. That's the way it goes sometimes. But rather than accept that which would have been exercising discipline, that part of me was thinking, well, maybe there'll be something a little later in the day. That was sort of that intrusive thought. And I gave that intrusive thought a voice, and then I empowered it to start trading in my account for me. Where was I? I don't know. So not good. So anyways, let's see. So first trade of the day for me today was on LASE. LASE, this stock actually put in a really impressive move yesterday. But you know what? I did not have FOMO over it. I will say, as I was driving around running errands, I did pull it up on my phone. And well, I pulled up my charts on my phone, or my scans on my phone. And this is sort of before I kind of got myself a little more centered. But I thought, oh, is this going to be something I should look at for an after hours trade like AMBO from Tuesday or from Monday? Now, AMBO on Monday gave us this really nice after hours squeeze, if you recall, where it went from, gosh, what was it? This thing squeezed all the way from about $3.50 up to $6 a share. That was nice. But, you know, those are a little bit of the exception, not the norm. And I think part of me was like, well, we just had a move like that yesterday. Maybe people are going to be more apt to look for that today. And I don't think that that's necessarily incorrect, but ultimately, you know, I sort of said to myself, look, your metrics don't support you trading after hours. So it doesn't matter what happens after hours. You know, you could have a stock that actually goes up and you still manage to lose money on it, the way we had yesterday on OTRK. OTRK goes up and I still lost on it. So just because I look back at the chart and see something went straight up doesn't mean I would have made money on it. I still could have managed to lose, as I did on this one. So first trade of the day, LASE. This one, you know, sold off Monday. We got the dead cat bounce, which was more than we expected. Goes sideways, starts to pull away here, goes all the way up to 942 yesterday, and then pulls back. So my first trade on this was actually right at 7 a.m. So that's when retail traders can begin trading for the most part. And I jumped in it at about 823 for the break of VWAP right here. It ends up going up to about 868, which was fantastic. I was like, you know what? That's awesome. Made almost $1,000 on that first trade. It flushes back down. I bought the dip at 798 down here, and it pops back up here. It ends up coming all the way back up to 880. So on my first two trades on it, I'm up $1,300. Well, first 3 or 4 trades. It was the trades right in this area, $1,300. So I was like, that's great. Then right here, it squeezes and pushes higher. So I traded it right there on the break through this flat top. I sort of saw resistance at about 860. We broke through 860. We pushed a little bit higher. We go up to 9. And then I'm looking at this level yesterday, which was yesterday's high. 942. And for what it's worth, I'm also kind of looking at the daily chart and I'm thinking, you know, this daily chart is not phenomenal. It's a little sloppy. The problem is, you know, it's such a nasty pullback. How much do we really expect it's going to bounce, right? It just doesn't really make sense. So anyways, as it pulled away there, it comes up to 940. And I was like, all right, that's close enough to this blue line, which is yesterday's high daily resistance. So I said, and you know what was really interesting is there was a big buyer on the bid, like down here. Stock pushes higher, that person cancels their order. Then there's another big buyer on the bid right here. Stock pushes higher, and then they cancel their order again. So when I saw a big buyer on the bid here at 26, what I was thinking was, this is that someone's putting these orders here to try to encourage people to buy the stock, maybe so they can short it or so they can sell it. But you know, what's also possible is someone was putting those buy orders on the bid to cover a short position, or perhaps to buy a long position. But it's a funny spot to buy a long position. It sort of makes more sense. It might have been someone short covering. And so when we came back down here to 25, 26, I was expecting that big order, which was like 25,000 shares, to get canceled. But I start seeing people sell into it. It goes 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 18, 15, 13, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the stock doesn't drop. And at that moment, I said, this is an iceberg. There's a big order sitting behind here. And I bought 4,500 shares right there. Just 1,500 shares, boom, 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 times 3. 1,500 shares starter size on a more expensive stock like this. So 4,500 shares, and then I add right here for the break through the high. So now I'm in 6,000 shares, and this thing rips up here, and I'm taking my profit off the table. So that ended up putting me up about 2,200 on LASC. That was at about 851. But in between my first trades on LASC LASE. And that trade, I did have a small trade on OTRK, which was yesterday's kind of big momentum stock. That was when it popped up right here. Nice pop, about 250,000 shares of volume, sort of curls up. I thought maybe, maybe we get a little dead cat bounce on it. Anyways, made $300 on that. Nothing really exciting. But after that trade and my first couple trades, I was up 1,600 on the day when 8:30 came. So 8:30, bottom of the hour, BNZI squeezes up over 100%, and it does it really quickly. So here's how I traded BNZI. First of all, I saw BNZI on my scanners. It's not on my top gap or my high day momentum scanner yet, but it was on my top gainers scanner and my low float top gainer scanner moving up. So as I saw it moving up, I pull up the chart. BNZI is a familiar name. We've traded it in the past, or if you recall back here, we had the reverse split on it. It gave us this nice pop. It pulls back. Then it gives us another big move. 60 million shares of volume both days. Now it pulls back, makes all-time low yesterday, 267 low. And then all of a sudden today, news comes out and it starts popping up. Announces strategic business initiatives to improve net income by up to 13.5 million annually. Okay, we'll see whether or not that actually happens. But that was the news headline. So it hits the scanners, it starts pulling away, and you know what? I was pretty quick to see it. I spotted it fast, and I jumped into my first order at 392 right here. So it spikes up here, and I take my first long at 392, anticipating the break through $4 a share. It goes up to 418, and I'm like, sweet. I added at 404, and then it flushes on this red candle down to a low of 370. And I was like, ooh, uh-oh. Okay, this might have been a mistake. It bounces, I add on the dip at about 380 something. It bounces back up to 418 and I got out. I was like, all right, that was close. Let's stabilize for a second. Now I wasn't taking big size on it, but I was a little concerned this might not be good. So it comes back up. I get out for about $180 a profit, something like that. So $180 a profit, not bad, nothing crazy. Ends up going sideways here. And then all of a sudden, it seems like we're getting some support down here. There's some buyers coming in off of 4, and the spreads are getting bigger. So I added back at about 405. It pops up to 424. It dips back down to 4. I add again, still holding $4 as my this is my support level. And then it breaks 420, which was the level I was wanting to see it break and hold. And it goes up to 430, 440. So what do I do? So let me pull up my orders here. All right, so that was LASE. So I added back 406, 413. I take some profit at 431. Then I add back when it shows it's holding. So now here, it's holding this level. So I added back right through here for the breakthrough 450. Then it goes up to 460. So it goes up to 460. I take some profit at 466. Now it holds 466, which, I was like, wow, okay. So then I added for the break of 470. It goes up to 475. And on that trade, I got in and got out basically break even. It because I added right here, it pops up and then drops back down. So it's like a break even trade. And the high of that candle was about 475. So then it bottoms right here. And I said, can it hold the $0.50 of 450? It held 450. So then I added back and we broke through 475 and go to 480, 490, up to 5. So now all of a sudden we're at $5 a share. I took some profit going up to that level. And then I added when it held over 5. I added at 506. I added at 523. I added at 531. I added at 542. I took profit at the $0.50, and then I added back as it held over 550 for the move up to 6. So basically the same thing I did right here. So added as we pulled away, took profit. It holds this level, adding, then took some profit, then adding as it held 5, taking some profit, adding as it holds 550, taking some profit as it goes up to 6. And then it peaks up here at about $6.58, which was really, really impressive. Ends up dropping back down here. I gave back about $500 off the top on this drop. It comes back down, and what I ended up doing is it pulls back down to this level, and I'm starting to watch support. It bounces there, and when it comes back down right here, I double bottom added off of 67. 4,500 shares at 71. Then it bounces from there back up to 6, which was nice. It pulls back, goes back below VWAP, comes back up, and as it squeezes back up, it comes back up to 6. So we break over VWAP. It's going to take a second. So we come back up here to VWAP. I didn't take this trade here, but right in here, I took this trade for the breakthrough 6, right about here. We go to 639, 640. That was my last trade of the day. We come into the open and it dips and rips up to 680. And I was like, awesome, but I'm not going to push my luck on it. I don't need to. I've had a great day. I've doubled the daily goal. Doesn't matter what happens from here on out. And I feel the same way looking at HOLO. HOLO, this one hit the scans early. And it did a full round trip. It goes from 450 to 740 and then all the way back down to 540. Comes back up here at the open, halts down, drops, and then off of this low, it rips up, jackknife, 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 goes up to 660, drops, and now it's up at 8. You know what? Good for you guys who traded it. I don't need to. I made my money today. I don't need to push my luck. I don't need to take the risk. I just don't need to. Felt the same way on SONN. This one popped up and did another round trip, very similar to HOLO. So it pops up. I was like, you know what? Maybe I took a small trade, got in, got out, lost $30. And I was like, you know what? Don't push your luck. It's not worth it. So yeah, so HOLO, I mean, look, it's great to see this move. I love seeing this momentum. We had some nice momentum on Sun midweek, or I guess that was on Monday, beginning of the week. And on those trades, or on Sober, sorry, not Sun, on Sober, SOBR, that one was a little tougher because I was red. I had a red day on Monday. I was red at the open or pre-market, and it was like pre-market was dead. And I was like, well, my window's kind of closed, right? You know, based on the time of day when I make the most money, my window had closed. And so I was like, well, I guess I should be done. And then SOBR ends up squeezing outside my window. So I was like, gosh darn it. You know, and similarly, it would have been awesome if HOLO had put in that kind of squeeze during, you know, the time of day when I'm usually trading and doing well, but it didn't, right? We got one that did, BNZI. And I suppose, you know, today's a day where, look, if I had stayed longer, maybe I coulda, woulda, shoulda, but at a certain point, you just have to ask yourself, is it really worth continuing to take the risk? Because catching a jackknife, which is more common once the market opens because of market orders and stop orders, catching a jackknife in an instant can wipe out all of a sudden a third of your profit on the day. And that's exactly what happened to me yesterday. I hit my daily goal. I overstayed my welcome. I got caught in one jackknife. Then I got frustrated, went back in, got a second one, went back in, got a third one. And all of a sudden, just like that, my day was gone. It's unbelievable how fast it happened. So this right now is an opportunity for me to practice discipline, to say, look, that's great. It's going higher. It's good for momentum. Hopefully we see more of it. I hope it goes to $25 a share. I hope it keeps going higher. But I'm not going to come back into the market. I'm going to take the $10,000 of profit that I made this morning, and I'm going to keep that. I'm going to let my account be back at all-time highs, let it keep growing, and, you know, live to trade another day. You know, I see traders out there who trade at such a kind of different scale than what I trade at. You know, they'll have, I mean, they might average 10, 5, 10, $8,000 days, green days like this, but when they go red, their red days are 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand, 75 grand, $100,000. You know, there's these huge red days because they get stubborn. They dig their heels in, they average down, they don't give up. And next thing you know, you get in something like this. And let's just say you bought the top at $8 and now you're down $1 a share. You took 5,000 share starter. Now you've averaged down to 10,000. Next thing you know, it halts down and you're in with 15,000 shares and you're down 30 grand. And it's like, how did this day unravel so fast? And that's the trap in the market. You have a couple wins and you get a sense of confidence that you know what you're doing, but the market can humble you. And then it can remind you that, wait a second, you know, you'll do well when you follow your strategy, when you stay within your rules. But when you start getting a little cocky, you start getting a little aggressive, you can get corrected real quick. So yesterday's disappointment that I had was a logical consequence for breaking rules. You break your rules, you have a loss, you're going to be disappointed. That's a logical consequence. And I wish that every time I broke my rules, that's what happened. But the market is not like that. So I have to be the one that sort of disciplines myself and reminds myself that I'm not being punished right now for following my rules. Yes, this is going higher, but know in your heart and in your metrics that if you had chosen to trade this, you know, the statistics tell you your odds of making money at that time of day are diminishing to the point where anything you might have made, in net total, you probably would have given it right back. So, print out your metrics, use this as a reminder. This is your North Star. This is your guiding point, right? This is where, you look at this and it's like, this is what I need to do every day. So when you take a big loss and it's on a trade that's outside that window, it's like, well, no kidding. Yeah, of course. You're trading outside your window. What are you thinking? And I get that sometimes trading outside the window, you'll get a lucky trade and you'll be like, look at me, I can trade all day long. But what I have found is that and this is also interesting for after hours traders. If I trade after hours, 4 p.m. to 5, if I make a mistake, there's really not time left to recover that mistake. And it's very easy for me to get triggered because if I've had a decent day and then at 4 p.m. I lose it, it's like there's this sense that I had it all day long. Like you gave me a cookie, it was sitting here all day long, but I wasn't able to eat it until 5 o'clock. And now at 4 o'clock, you're taking it away? That's not fun. That's not good. And that's kind of what it is like with trading after hours, because you have the profit, but it's not really yours until you walk away for the day, right? Once you walk away and it's done, then it's done. But when you're still trading, there's always the risk you give it back. And so giving it back at 4 p.m., because I've had days where I jump in a stock at 4 p.m., I get smoked on it, and all of a sudden, emotionally triggered immediately and looking for anything moving to recoup those losses. And that's not discipline. That's not good. So I just know for me that trading later in the day exposes me there's a curve, if you will. And I'll turn this camera on so we can get out the whiteboard. There's a little bit for me of a curve where if the longer I trade into the day, the higher the likelihood is of me getting triggered. So let me move this around here a little bit. So let's say, my day starts at the earliest at, about 7 a.m. So 7 a.m. and then this is 6 p.m. All right, so that's the whole day. Now, what we know about there's two curves here. One we'll do in green, which is going to be profit. So what we know is that my profits typically are the highest. They pretty much if this is maybe 6:30 here, they go pretty quickly like this, my profits, and then they go down even faster than that. It's like it's not a very even bell curve. And actually we could almost say like this is 0 and then this is like losing below 0, right? So negative, because that goes in the negative. And then here's the thing, this is my threshold for getting triggered. My threshold for getting triggered goes up sort of exponentially, where the further into the day we go, and I make a mistake, the more likely I am to get triggered and to spiral. So spiral risk factor increasing exponentially. This isn't as exponential as it should be. It increases exponentially as the day goes on right here. And at the same time, and maybe it's because of, you can't disconnect these two. It's for the same reason that my profitability goes into the negative, because statistically, this is when I'm more likely to make these big mistakes, is down here. So what we would actually say is that this is profit, 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 and then all of a sudden down here is starting to go into losses. Maybe the losses aren't big in this area in total, but they're losses nonetheless. So this is not a perfect graph. Where was this? This is just the last 30 days right here, which showed, that's my stop point, and this after hours stuff was getting really bad, but you get the idea. So, and I share this with you it helps for me to talk it out and, put some kind of like common sense around how I feel about all these things. So this is helpful for me, but I hope it's helpful for you as well, because this is all sort of the cumulative knowledge and data of someone who's been doing this for a long time and still at times struggles. So I'm always trying to kind of find the answer and find the path, right? So if I go off path, I try self-correct quickly. And I tell this to my kids all the time. There's a Bernstein Bear book about Brother Bear. He's, gets sick, which, that's not his fault. But anyways, he misses homework. He doesn't do his schoolwork for a few days, goes into school and pop quiz in math, and he fails it. He gets an F. And anyways, he kind of spirals. He skips school the next day. Now he doesn't go to school. Now he's getting in trouble, right? And at the end of the book, we learn that it's never too late to correct a mistake. And I think that that's important, because it's easy when you start to spiral, you start to go on a bad path. Like, it's like, how could I just I wish this was like a game where I could just reload to my last saved point before I made all of those mistakes. And in a sense, you can, because reloading to that save point, while it may not put you back to that place of that dollar amount, you can go back to the strategy you were trading and put yourself back in that mindset of discipline. And if you can do that, then you've already made back all the losses. That's the thing. There's that expression that all the profit is there in the market. You just have to go pick it up. So you're going to take another 100 trades, and you can either choose that those next 100 trades are going to be on the path of your strategy, traded with discipline, quality setups, or you can take 100 trades that are just grasping at straws. Where do you think you're going to be at the end of grasping for straws? Continued spiral, continued losses, blown up account. Or you can self-correct. So self-correcting requires a very high level of emotional awareness and discipline. So what I was doing last night and this morning before trading was guided meditations right here on YouTube for discipline. So you just do a guided meditation, discipline, 10, 15 minute long. There was one, I don't remember the name of it, but anyways, you'll find it if you want it. It was like 15 minutes long. Just do that a couple times. Just try to remind yourself, this is my ticket to success. My ticket to success is discipline. That is number one. Now, obviously, you need to have strategy. You need to know how to find the right stocks to trade. You have to have all of that first. I mean, I'll say that. So trading is two parts. It's strategy and then discipline. So if you're looking for the strategy, I'll put a link down in the description where you could download, you can do a 2-week trial at Warrior Trading. So you can watch over my shoulder for the next 2 weeks. You can also watch my free intro class, Intro to Day Trading, where I walk you through my strategy. And I'll give you guys all a copy of my book, How to Day Trade, The Plain Truth. So everyone that watches that free intro class gets a copy that they can download. So you could download this. And then, yeah, so I hope you do one of those two things. And then when it comes to discipline, I'll just keep sharing with you the tips and tricks that help me. But discipline is a muscle, and you got to strengthen it. And it's not like learning to tie your shoes or ride your bike, that once you've got it forever. Discipline is something you need to constantly work on, and you'll see all traders at times struggle with it. And look, even billionaire investors will make mistakes. You listen to Bill Ackman talk about one of the biggest losses he ever had on Valiant Pharmaceutical. He lost something like $4 billion. And he talks about how he was going through a period in his life where I think he was questioning his marriage. He was contemplating a divorce, and, all this stuff was all happening. So, all of those things that are on the periphery can come back in to your trading. So if some of that stuff, anything like that's going on, then that's another level of awareness that, like, okay, my threshold is going to be lower. That trigger threshold is going to be even lower on a day when you're emotionally charged up from something else. So I hope this has been a really helpful episode. Grateful for the green day, $10,432.70. Live to trade another day. I'll be back at it tomorrow. And I'll try to finish off the week Thursday and Friday with discipline, at the sort of front of my mind. All right, thanks as always for tuning in. I'll see you guys back at tomorrow, and I'll remind you, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so manage your risk, take it slow. Practice this simulator before you trade real money, and I hope to see you guys at Warrior Trading for a 2-week trial real soon. All right, see you guys soon.